Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to this BFSI summit. It's a pleasure to be with the key decision makers and also thought leaders in this BFSI space. But more than anything else, for me in government, as I sit here in the Department of Financial Services, this is also a valuable opportunity to showcase some of the ways in which we have been leveraging technology and the whole power of digital platforms to discharge some of our duties, to extend some public services, and make direct benefits transfers happen through digital platforms. I would like to take you back to last year in 2020, when the pandemic was just starting. And at that time, we were tasked in the Ministry of Finance, we were tasked with bringing much needed relief and redress some of the problems that were being faced by the people in the lockdown period from April to June. At this time, the Honorable Prime Minister announced the Garib Kalyan Yojana program, and of the various components, we in the Department of Financial Services were asked to take care of the women Jan Dhan account holders. There were a number of women Jan Dhan account holders who, because of the lockdown, did not have access to means of livelihood and income, and therefore they needed some urgent finances at their command so as to be able to take care of the urgent needs of their family. And what we were able to do in a very short space of time was to coordinate with NPCI and with the banks, and 20.5 crore women Jan Dhan account holders, more than 20 crore women account holders of the Jan Dhan Yojana were transferred amounts of 500 rupees per month for 3 months. That is a total amount of 1,500 was transferred to more than 20 crore Jan Dhan account holders who were women, using just a touch of a button, and they got the money in their accounts, and they were able to also then access the money for their urgent household needs, urgent family needs, through observing the various social restrictions that were in place at that time. This was just one major example I wanted to highlight to you of how we in government are leveraging the digital power. There are also several other examples. For example, Honorable Prime Minister, as you have seen, has been transferring large amounts of money in the PM Kisan Yojana, that is the benefits that are going to the farmers across the country. And tens of thousands of crore of rupees of 2,000 rupee transfers to each farmer account, which is seeded by Aadhaar, are being made using the power of banks, digital platforms, and also through the coordination by NPCI. But it's not merely enough that we have been able to transfer our direct benefits and subsidies through the digital platforms. Also allowing them to access the funds in periods like these when they may not physically be able to go to ATMs or bank branches, but they actually have to use payment services, Aadhaar-enabled payment services, or the power of an increasingly strong UPI backbone to use Bhim Aadhaar services for conducting various digital transactions. It gives me great pleasure to report to you that in the year 2020-21, more than 2.25 lakh crore transactions were conducted using the digital platform payment services for a value of more than 41 lakh crore rupees. As far as UPI is concerned, we have touched a number of 200 crore transactions a month, per month, 200 transactions in June this year. And the amount reached as much as 5 lakh crore per month in June. The target is to touch more than 10 times this number in the next 3 years. And this shows to you the power of the digital platform, not just for receiving benefits, including government benefits and direct benefits, but also to be able to conduct digital transactions and make payment services. If we hark back to the year 2013, when the World Bank published its Findex report, India's financial inclusion was assessed globally, and it was found that only 30% of adults across the country had access to bank accounts and financial services. But if you see the next edition of the Findex report that the World Bank published in 2017-18, India's financial inclusion measured by number of adult bank accounts reached at more than 70%. So in a short span of a few years, less than 5 years, we've actually more than doubled the financial inclusion parameters, including access to banking services across the country. Now, that is no mean achievement, because if you look at what this platform, which was established in these years from 2014 onwards, achieved, you will then see how the whole story of Digital India unfolds. So the Jan Dhan Yojana program was announced on 15th August 2014 by the Honorable Prime Minister. This was followed by the launching of the Digital India program in 2015-2016. And what we did was, to ensure basic banking services, we launched an app called Jan Dhan Darshak app, Jan Darshak app. Now, this is an app run by the Department of Financial Services, in which all bank touchpoints, not just bank branches, but also ATMs and business correspondents, banking correspondents, bank mitras as we call them, are mapped all across the country. And on a public platform, any citizen can now go and touch that screen and find out where the nearest banking touchpoint will be, so that he or she can avail banking services in an easy and efficient manner. So we, on the one hand, we were opening bank accounts, basic bank accounts. On the other hand, we were increasing our coverage and providing citizens information about how to avail and where to go for availing banking services. And also at the same time, we were increasing our infrastructure. So in 2018, there were more than 12,000 villages which were not covered by bank touch points, that is either a bank branch or a business banking correspondent or an ATM. Today, as we speak, that number is less than 300. That is, villages which within a radius of 5 kilometers have at least one banking touch point. So for the far-flung, remote and rural areas of our country, now we have ensured that almost all, barring these 300 villages, that is more than 6.5 lakh villages, are having access to one banking touch point or another. This is a huge achievement, and also it plays on the strengths of Digital India and the digital platform. If you again look back at what was happening post 2015, 2016, when the Digital India program was announced, the whole JAM Trinity was put in place. JAM Trinity, as I'm sure you're all aware, is the Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity. That is the first pillar of access through Jan Dhan accounts through increased coverage. The second pillar of Aadhaar seeding of bank accounts, so that unique beneficiaries could be provided with direct benefits transfers. And mobile platforms, that is the JAM, using mobile platforms, every citizen could access not just their banking services, but also make digital transactions and payments, Aadhaar-enabled payment services. So the whole thing came together very nicely. And of course, we also saw that how 2016, a major stride was made when demonetization was launched, and it succeeded in moving a large number of people, a large number of users onto the formal banking and financial services platforms, onto digital platforms, and into the formal network of financial services, whereas hitherto they had been mostly on the informal domain. So the whole story has been actually the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister. The game plan, the master plan of this government was started in 2014. The foundations were laid for digital services, digital transactions. And now we are reaping the benefits of this whole work of all these years, when during the pandemic and during difficult natural calamity times, natural disasters, we are able to reach banking services and government benefits to our citizens in the far-flung corners of this country using the entire digital technology. And this is really a powerful paradigm This is how in the Ministry of Finance and across the government, we have been leveraging the digital power of digital to access our citizens, and in turn to enable our citizens to access the emergency funds, banking services, and government benefits. Now, so this is what has come in the first phase in terms of providing financial inclusion, which is so important for removing poverty. But there are three pillars of financial inclusion. The first pillar, of course, is something we've been talking about, that is banking the unbanked. Second pillar of financial inclusion is credit for the unfunded, that is funding the unfunded. And the third pillar is protecting the unprotected. Now, the second pillar of funding for the unfunded means credit availability to those who so far had little or no access to formal credit from the banking system. I'm talking here about programs like the Mudra Yojana or Stand Up India program, which are all heavily reliant on the digital platform, and how some of these loans are being digitally sanctioned, not only sanctioned, but also seamlessly disbursed to citizens across the country. Again, during the pandemic, when the Atmanirbhar program was announced, one of the flagship programs that the Honorable Prime Minister announced was the Swanidhi program for street vendors. And small ticket loans of 10,000 rupees are being extended using a seamless digital process on an online platform to street vendors across the country. About 25 lakh loans have already been sanctioned, and an amount of more than 3,000 crore has been given to the street vendors who suffered during the two lockdowns and lost their means of livelihood and income. This is entirely on the digital platform, and the street vendor only has to come at the time of disbursement when he is given training and onboarding for digital transactions. One important component of the Swanidhi loan scheme has been the use of the mobile platform, the digital platform for payment services used by the street vendors in accepting payments. And this the Swanidhi scheme seeks to promote by providing cashback for digital transactions. Now we are, as was announced in the Independence Day speech by the Honorable Prime Minister on 15th August, we are now in the process of 100% saturation of the various benefits under the financial inclusion program. And the third pillar is very, very important, which I was talking about, protecting the unprotected through micro insurance schemes. That is the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, PMJJBY, and Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Suraksha Bima Yojana, PMJSBY. Now, these two micro insurance schemes extend a social protection net to our citizens, and particularly in the times of the pandemic, where we saw a number of deaths and families requiring emergency protection and emergency funds, some of these schemes have come in very handy in providing that insurance, even though it's a small insurance amount of 2 lakh rupees per to wherever somebody has died in the family. At least this is emergency solace. And we are trying to increase the penetration of that, saturation across the country, but at the same time also reduce the turnaround time by using digital platform. That is, from launching of the claims with the banks where the person is where the expired person is an account holder, from his family, the claim is launched in the bank using the digital platform. Banks will transmit and lodge this claim entirely seamlessly digitally to the insurance company. The insurance company will process the claim and then disburse the insurance amount, the claim amount, entirely on the digital platform. And we are hopeful that using this, our target is that from the current 30 days to 45 days, this turnaround time will actually reduce to as little as 15 days, in which the insurance claim can be disbursed to the family of the person who has expired. So this is another good example of how we are using digital platforms in such times where people need emergency protection as well as funding. Now, if you look beyond financial inclusion, the next stage of financial inclusion is financial empowerment. That is from Jan Dhan, which we started the Jan Dhan program of 2014. Now we are aspiring to move towards Jan Dhan version 2. That is financial empowerment. How do we move from beyond basic banking, basic funding and basic protection services on to the empowering people to save money in a productive manner? And therefore, for this, we are trying to look at various savings options that we can provide to bank account holders, to beneficiaries using the digital platform. And for this, last year, again, the pilot of Project Kashi was launched. Now, Project Kashi is a program that Niti Aayog and the Department of Financial Services is working on in Sevapuri block in Varanasi district, where we are trying to link the Jan Dhan account holders with various options for online fixed deposits, recurring deposits. We are also trying out a gold-linked savings scheme. We are also trying to extend to them the whole concept of Kashi is cash over internet. That is, if we are able to form a risk-based assessment of the cash flows into account holders of Jan Dhan beneficiaries who are receiving direct benefits transfers from government through different schemes or different sources, if you form an estimate of what the inflows and outflows are, then various providers of funding, banks and financial institutions, are able to tailor and offer loans, small ticket loans, maybe 25,000 rupees online through digital platforms to these account holders. And so Project Kashi is in its pilot phase. And as we scale it up and we try to roll it out across the country, this is the starting of financial empowerment, whereby customers or clients of banks will have access to products, savings products, loan products of a number of financial institutions from which they can choose the best, the optimum interest rate and tenor and the best product that works for them, not just for borrowing from banks, but also for savings for their hard-earned money. As a part of this whole game plan, we have launched the National Common Portal. The Department of Financial Services has been working on a national common portal for various government schemes and benefits, in which on just one single portal, the citizens can access different financial products, different protection products of insurance companies, and different benefit schemes by a single click of the button. And it is on this portal that ultimately we wish to roll out the digital loans and the cash-based, not just collateral-based, but cash-based loan as well as savings products on one single national common platform. This is where we talk about the convergence of different schemes of government and of banks. And this national common platform will ultimately harness the power of digital India. It will use the powerful digital and mobile technology to extend some of these services to the clients of banks, to customers, and to the common citizen. So here again, fintechs are playing a very, very important role. Fintechs across the country have been a part of our pilots in Project Kashi and some of our other pilots which are going on. For example, in the Aspirational Districts program, we are running an Aspirational Districts program across 112 aspirational districts in the country for some of the initiatives that I spoke about. And fintechs are very closely involved. They are providing us with the analytics and the tools by which we can push the different products online seamlessly through the digital platform and the new age products. And government agencies like the Ministry of Finance, Department of Financial Services have to collaborate and are collaborating closely with fintech providers across the country to provide such services. With that, I would like to come to a close of my few words today. And I wish you all the best for this, whatever initiatives that are being taken. And I thank the organizers for inviting me to deliver this address today. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much.